Please listen it. So under the animal protection initiatives, here you can see that there are two areas are there. One is regarding the functioning of Animal Welfare Board of India, and second one is CPCA. That is another term. Then ethical commitment are also there. So coming to the animal protection initiatives, one initiative is the existence of Animal Welfare Board of India. Its abbreviation is AWB1, and this was established in 1962 under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act. That was the law. And here you can see that there is one famous dancer known as Rukmini Devi Arundale. She was a very famous classical dancer. That is a photo of her. And she has been instrumental in bringing out this Animal Welfare Board of India. Even though she was a very famous dancer, she has very much interested in the welfare of animal, and it was under her, because of her pressure on the government, that government has introduced a board like Animal Welfare Board, and that is now working under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And the head office of this body is in Haryana. That is the it was is in Haryana from 2018 onwards. Before that, it was in Chennai. Then, concerned about the abuse of animals in research, it is recommended that government to create a committee for the purpose of control, supervision of experiments on animals. So that is known as CPCA. So if there is a question, what do you mean by CPCA? It is actually an abbreviation for the Committee for the Purpose of Control, Supervision of Experiments on Animals. That is the committee. That committee is known as CPCA. And in 2001, government passed the Performing Animals Rule. Performing Animals Rule means when animals are used in some circus or other kind of activities, these rules will be binding. These rules put regulation for preventing cruelty involved when animals were used for entertainment, especially in circus. So we cannot use animal in any way we deem fit. The board oversees animal welfare organization by granting them recognition. So this is an important board like Animal Welfare Board of India, AWBI. They have an important act is known as a CPCA. Then one function of the Animal Welfare Board is that to grant recognition to animal welfare organization in India. They also appoint important people like animal welfare office. For example, if you are doing some harm to any dog or cat, immediately some people from the government will be coming and take you to the court. So these are the people, they are known as animal welfare officers. They have a criminal power to prosecute anybody who is involved in animal harm. So then regarding the CPCA, the purpose of this is a committee for the purpose of control, supervision of experiment. Mainly for research area, the CPCA is binding. And this is a statutory committee. Statutory means legally binding. So legally binding, which is established in 1991. And the objective is CPCA is to ensure that animals are not subject to unnecessary pain. Because when you are conducting some research on an animal, animals may be experiencing a lot of pain, lot of unpleasant experience. So the animal also have a right to get protected from this kind of unnecessary pain. That is the main objective of the CPCA. So when we are subjecting an animal to kind of experimentation, we have to make sure that we are not we are doing it within the limits of the CPCA rule. So for this purpose, under the Delegated Powers Committee formulated breeding and experiments on animal rules. So there are so we cannot simply conduct a study on animals. There are important rules are there. One is the CPCA, other is the 1998 breeding and experiments on animal rule. And so this rule has to be, we have to make sure that we are not crossing the limits of this rule. So what are the functions of CPCA? One is registration of establishment conducting animal experimentation or breeding. For example, in our university, there is a breeding center for rat. They are producing rat there because many departments in university are conducting research on rat or rabbit. So they have to take permission from this CPCA. They have to get registration from CPCA. Then selection and assignment of nominees for the institutional animal ethics committee. Our is a small college, but in a bigger college or in a university, in every institution there will be an ethics committee. And the function of this ethics committee is mainly regarding animals. If somebody is conducting any kind of experiment using rat or any animal, they have to present their data. They have to take permission from institutional ethics committee, and all their work will be closely monitored by the ethics committee. And most of the time this ethics committee will be also having members from outside, like a district collector. So we cannot do any mischief by simply doing hiding some fact, because there are maybe outside experts, especially like a district collector or sub collector will be there. Then approval of the animal house facility on the basis of reports of inspection conducted by the CPCA. That is another important function of the CPCA. Then permission for conducting the experiments involving user. So CPCA has a lot of function, and these are some of the main functions of the CPCA. Then giving recommendation for the import. For example, you want to import some animal from South America or from Africa, you have to take permission from them. Action against establishment in case of established violation of any legal norm. If somebody is violating certain rules of the government, under the CPCA they can take they can be prosecuted. Then training program for the nominees of the CPCA. The other members who are participating in the CPCA bodies will be given training. Then workshops on animal ethics. Then programs and conference and workshops on animal ethics will be conducted. So these are some of the important aspects of or functions of CPCA. Remember, it is a committee for the purpose of control, supervision of experiments on animal. So if you remember that, then most of the idea you can explain in your own sentence. Then there is one more term, that is ethical commitment. The researchers who use animal for research or teaching purpose have a personal responsibility for all matters relating to the welfare of the animal they use. That commitment is known as because I am conducting a research on a rat, I am conducting research on a rabbit, I don't have any right to simply abandon that animal after my purpose. So that is known as ethical committee. This responsibility embraces duty of care, which demands a genuine commitment to the. That is, when you are working on an animal, it is your responsibility to make sure that that particular rat or rabbit or a monkey is in a healthy situation. That is it. That is known as an ethical commitment. A respect for the contribution the animals make to research and teaching, and to promote the well-being of this animal. So before any researcher must obtain the approval from the ethics committee. And getting permission from the ethics committee is not always very easy. Because if you go to university and if you ask any PhD student there, and if they are submitting an approval for experimenting on 10 animal, 10 rat, most of the time they may get permission only for 2 rats, sometimes 3 rats. So with that 2 rat or 3 rat, they have to take a detailed study. That is the power of this ethics committee. So, and the assessment looks at the animal welfare and scientific merit of the permit. You are going to do a research work. Your work will be analyzed in detail by this ethics committee team. Now, if you are violating, there will be penalties will be there. Sometimes more severe penalties, legal actions will be there. Teaching and research involving animal must not commence without the approval of ethics committee. So that is the role of the ethical committee. That is, every researcher has a legal obligation, a moral obligation to protect the right of the individual, to make sure that the animal is not subject to unnecessary pain or discomfort.